Part of this journey included attempts on my part to continue to enjoy certain things that I didn't want to give up, like the occasional cheese with some wine. I'd seen some of the truths about dairy farms, and in order to continue to enjoy cheese occasionally, I needed to go and find out for myself. I thought perhaps if I went and visited a small local farm, I could be at peace with where I was buying my cheese directly. Instead, I peeled back another layer of the onion and realized just how disconnected I was from the truth, and how disconnected we all are when it serves our purposes. The first thing I saw were these 4-day-old goats isolated in a pen. At least they had each other, which is better than some conditions, but you know, they're a couple of days old and their mother's nowhere in sight. Some of them were struggling to walk. Some of them were huddled together. They were shivering. And, you know, being the hippie that I am, I thought that's kind of messed up that these brand new babies are pulled away from their mothers. And when I approached the staff about it, they explained that it was a good thing. They prevented the strong bond from forming between the mother and the babies. That way it would be easier on them later. Okay, wow. We are good people because we prevented a natural bond between a mother and her offspring from taking place. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. We're actually celebrating pulling a baby away from its mother immediately after it comes into the world. Again, compared to a factory farm, this place was a dream. That doesn't make it good. Just because we participate in unfathomable levels of evil doesn't mean that a lesser evil is now a good thing, although we seem to like to tell ourselves that. I hadn't expected the babies, but prior to going there, I was curious how they managed to produce so much milk as to have a business and do it in a natural way. Well, it turns out that the gestation period is 5 months, which means that the mother can get pregnant twice a year, which means that she spends her entire existence pregnant, giving birth to children that she never gets to see or nurture, and the rest of her time being milked in this room. Are there worse things? Yes. Is that a good life? Is that anything that we would ever wish upon ourselves? So this results in about 300 new goats being born every year. Some of the females are kept to be used for dairy in the future. Others are sold off to other dairy farms where they will obviously suffer the fate of their mother, a life that none of us would live, while the males are given to local farms or sold off where they can spend part of their lives as grazing goats, which, by the way, I encountered about a year later, and I'll share that with you at some point. And then, of course, those goats, when their use has been fulfilled, are slaughtered. So do I expect people to give up meat and dairy immediately based on this? No. I think the first step is acknowledging the truth that best case scenarios for these animals are still scenarios that we would never, ever endure ourselves. And if you can at least accept that, then you begin the journey of awakening.